Today's the anniversary of Humanae Vitae, July 25th, 2025. And Father, you were speaking eloquently about your concern about priests and bishops and fellow clergy who are not actively preaching on Humanae Vitae. And I just thought we'd capture a couple of minutes of you giving a message.
Well, Saint Pope John Paul II made a very important statement to a group of priests who were visiting him in Rome. And he made a statement that I've never forgotten. And that statement is that this area of contraception is the greatest marriage concern, the greatest concern of the pastoral of the church in the pastoral ministry is this contraception. And we have so many of our people contracepting, and so many of them dissatisfied with the marriage relationship. And you see that from the divorce rate and the annulments that are being granted, that something is radically wrong. And we need to get into this, and it's a very important subject. And Cardinal Pell from Australia said, as long as we buy into the silence, the so-called pastoral silence about this matter, the church is just going to be hurt. And we see it in the spiritual life of our people, that this is a grave concern because vocations are involved. The parish, the people's generosity, the people's openness to the parish life is truncated with this contraception. So it's a very important subject. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a very important subject, and we priests need to understand the issue. We need to understand a little more about the methodology of natural family planning, how it works, the cycle, so that we can talk intelligently to the people about this. We don't have to be married to be able to understand this. Like a dentist doesn't have to have an understanding of a toothache in order to be a good dentist, okay? You don't have to be married to understand this. As a matter of fact, some gentleman one time told me, he says, I don't understand how John Paul, who is an unmarried man, can understand with such penetration this beautiful subject. And I said to myself, you know why? Because he's a chaste man, and he's living with chastity, and he has a penetration that you don't have, because perhaps you're not as chaste as you should be, and therefore there's a blindness in your understanding of this. But his understanding of it was pristine. And when he wrote the Theology of the Body, he didn't have to be a married man at all. As a matter of fact, it's because he wasn't married that he had such an understanding of it. So we need to understand that Theology of the Body. We need to go back and look at that beautiful Humanae Vitae and study it very carefully. It's a beautiful teaching. And it's acceptable to the people. The people have not rejected this teaching. The people haven't heard the teaching properly proclaimed. And because of that, they reject it because they've been inundated with the culture of death, who has spread their lies about this, and they're under that blindness. And we should, from the pulpit, should be explaining this. And as I mentioned last night, I think every parish should have a natural family planning teacher. And that teacher should be involved in all the education of the parish, in the CCD, the youngsters that are in the junior, senior high school. They should be aware of how their sexual makeup has been designed by God, so that they're not in a mystery about this, and that they have a control over this. They understand it. And so it should be involved in the pre-marriage and in the pre-baptism instruction. The person who would be in the parish in this area could also be instructive in the adult education. So if they were financed by the parish and at least given compensation by the parish, it would only be fair to them that they would do that. They pay for the janitor, they pay for their secretary, they pay for everything else. They pay for the gardening, they pay for the grass cutting. Well, why not pay for these people who are doing such wonderful work? And that's my appeal to the clergy, that the church needs you to stand up and tell the truth with love, not in a condemnation type of way or ridicule way, because it's not the lay people's fault. It's we clergy who have been silent on this matter from the very beginning, from 1960 when the pill came out. We didn't stand up for the truth. And Cardinal Dolan in New York made that very clear in an article that not an article, but an interview he had with the Wall Street Journal. He said, we didn't accept the challenge when it came out in 1960. We succumbed, we were silenced, and this mess is more of a clerical situation, that it's not the people. The people have been done in because we haven't proclaimed the message. And they're blinded by the culture of death. And so they're not rejecting this teaching, they're open to this teaching, if it's proclaimed with love and concern. And so that's why the parish needs to invest in a teacher. And as the bishop in Melbourne, I forget his name right now, he said if a pastor doesn't have an NFP teacher in his parish who is involved in all of the teaching in the parish, he's not serious about this matter. And I